pregnant for my 9th time. I've had 6 miscarriages, 2 living children, this baby. And I wanted to share my story about getting a celiac diagnosis in case you are like where I was, where you're dealing with unexplained recurrent loss. I'm sitting here with my 1-year-old climbing all over me and he's playing with toys. You're probably going to hear that. But I had these 6 miscarriages, 3 before my daughter, 3 before my son. Ultimately, we never were able to come up with a reason for why I was having these losses. And I got the terrible diagnosis of unexplained recurrent loss, which if you're watching this video and you've had that, you know, I know how frustrating that is. I know how it's like the worst in so many ways because there's just no answers. And I had kind of resigned myself to just never knowing. And it wasn't until this fall, a family member got diagnosed with celiac that I even looked into it because I always thought celiac was like a GI issue mostly. And I have no GI issues that link to gluten to me. So I never would have even looked into it. But after looking into some of the symptoms of celiac outside of GI issues, fertility issues and miscarriage is absolutely one of the big ones. But then there's other things like random mouth ulcers or rashes that are in specific parts of the body. Things I just thought were quirks of my body. Turns out they're side effects of celiac. So I ended up getting a diagnosis, and after being gluten-free for 1 month, we got pregnant when we weren't even trying yet. And I'm so grateful, and this pregnancy's been healthy so far. But I just look back at these 6 losses that we had, and I'm just like, I wish this had even been like, why didn't someone bring this up? Like, is it just not well known? Like, we never really looked into figuring out if I have an autoimmune. You know, at the very end of trying to get pregnant with my almost 1-year-old, I feel like we started to think maybe I had an underlying autoimmune, but celiac was just never mentioned. And it's as simple as changing your diet. You know what I mean? It's just as simple as removing gluten. Funny to look back at the 2 living children we have and how I kind of cut out gluten to get pregnant with those, even though I wasn't thinking about it that way. So the whole point of me making this video is just to let you know, if you're dealing with recurrent loss and it's unexplained, or you can't get pregnant and it's unexplained, you should definitely look into celiac disease or autoimmune in general. Even if you don't do the blood work, go on an anti-inflammatory diet or cut out gluten and see if it makes a difference. I did do the blood work. I do have the gene for it. I do have celiac, but you know, I just wish it had been like something we looked into when we got to the unexplained part. Let's go the next step and still keep trying to explain it. And so I hope that this video just brings a little bit more awareness that this can be a reason for loss and fertility issues. And I want it to be on your radar in case you're trying to figure out why you're having your issues.